Welcome, welcome, welcome. Well, another good day in the neighborhood, you right, Johnny?
Yeah, it's another day. I don't know if it's a good one in the neighborhood.
It's another good day in the neighborhood, and I say it because every day above ground is a good day.
It's exactly words I was they took it right out of my mouth there. Yeah.
Every day. Well, today we just decided to do a hot topic show, just throw some fun into all the craziness that's going on in the world. So the first thing, J-Lo dumped her little boy toy. Oh.
Man, how many times? She's been married like 4 times, too, hasn't she?
Well, I think she's been married 3, and then she's got this new boy. And what's funny, the last husband was a backup dancer. And, you know, that didn't last long, but he got $15 million out of that. And this little boy she just dumped, says she caught him with a tranny. And they had showed him going into one of those XXX bars or whatever. And then they showed the girl, and they said she was curvier than J-Lo. I was like, oh, my goodness.
But you know what? I mean, I'm not a big movie person. I'm not a big into her music at all. But, I've seen her in the movie. I have seen her in a couple of movies. And they also saw her in interviews. And I think she comes across, at least, I don't know what she's like in what they call real life, but she comes across as a very nice person.
Yeah.
I mean, she seems like a real decent person, down to earth,
She might be a good person, but I think that maybe she just doesn't like to be alone, because when you go through all those marriages, sort of like Kardashian, you just 3 strikes and you still looking, and then when they break up, you off to the next one. It's something about spending some time with yourself that I believe in.
Well, there's a book that's called, it's a taboo to actually know yourself. I think it was Alan Watts who wrote it. I agree that people in this society, they just fill their days with activities to try to not have to look at themselves.
Yeah.
They just rush around doing things or being involved in stuff.
Well, when they was talking about this, I watched TMZ, and they always have the fun stories. I just crack up at that show. I love Harvey Levin. But they said he had inside his affair with the transsexual model. I was like, okay. And then poor Kardashian.
See, I mean, the Kardashians to me are like scum-sucking bottom feeders. That's why I look at them.
Well, Kim is our husband number 3, and I look at her with. They showed the wedding dress and everything, and I'm going, why is she still wearing white wedding gowns? I guess that doesn't matter anymore.
When Hollywood, you just get a surgeon for yours, puts a couple stitches in, and you're back to square one, right?
I don't know, but it's been so many stories about her and Kanye. He's supposed to be wanting another baby right away, and she's like, not my body. We're gonna have to get a surrogate or something. Because she was humongous when she was pregnant, and they made fun of her so bad in the media. I felt bad for her, but it's like,
What's bad is a person gains weight. I forget what guy it was. It was one of the rock and rollers of the 80s. He got addicted to drugs, and he was a real thin guy during the time he was doing drugs, and he's quit drugs. And, people, when you're doing drugs, especially like cocaine,
right,
your appetite's diminished, so you're not eating.
Right?
But when he stopped and he went through rehab, he gained weight, and people ripped him more for gaining weight than he were for using all these illegal drugs.
It's like that priority is not quite right. You would want to be like, stop doing drugs, but they're like, oh, you're fat now.
Yeah, but and I like to ask these people, you can do a whole lifetime. I've known people have done it. I myself, I don't go around doing drugs. You can go a lifetime not having to use an illicit drug. You can't go through your lifetime without eating. So which is harder for you to actually have this healthy relationship, if you want to use that terminology?
I don't know. And then when you see poor Rob Kardashian, it's like, what happened? 285 pounds. What happened to that boy?
I mean, it's like, and they got the trainers. I mean, let's face it.
Yeah, he's got He had Gunnar Peterson, who's known for whipping people into shape.
If I was one of those trainers and one of my clients got that out of shape, and it was good. I mean, that much in the public eye.
Yeah,
I'd go to say, look, I'm putting you on a 6-week regimen, free of charge, because you represent my ass, and you better get your ass back in shape.
You know what show he should go on is Extreme Makeover with Chris Powell. The extreme weight loss. They give you 365 days with him and his wife training, and they will even let you stay in their house out in Arizona to help you out, because he just did a mother and son duo, and the son was like 345 pounds and the mother was 275 pounds, and at the end the mother got down to about, I think, 160 pounds, and the son got down to 183. And
that's remarkable.
I think that's what he need instead of the quick fixes. I think he needs something to like stretch out and help him like that, because with I think his mother, I think Chris is wicked because every one of her kids work and she's getting her 20%.
You're talking. This is the Kardashian. This
The
is
Kardashian, yeah.
Yeah, it's like they basically put. I liken that family into using their kids almost like a pimp uses a prostitute.
Yeah, everybody in that works, and like he has a sock line, but I guess it's not going as well. And then the story that they had in here, like my mom, he said my mom is a monster, and then she says something like all of the girls are working, and he's 5'10" and tipping the scales at 285, and she's like, all the kids are working. Even Kendall and Kylie makes more money than him, and said he's an embarrassment, and he an obese person with a failed sock line. Now
that's from a mom.
Yeah. Now I don't know if she really, but that's what it says in here, and you know how they put spins on stuff. But I wouldn't put it past her to say it because she's always up in there getting plastic surgery. Kim lives in there getting plastic surgery. Yeah. And I just don't understand it.
It was like those children born to that family would have had a better chance of getting warmth and love from the Manson family than they would from this family.
Well, Bruce never wanted them two his girls, to be in that lifeline, lifestyle, because he was telling them, you need to go to school, do this and that. But then as soon as they got old enough to model or whatever, she was putting them to work. She got to get that money.
Well, yeah, did you see him lately? He looks effeminate. He's
long
hair.
The rumor is that he's supposed to be transgendering. He's supposed to be moving into a woman because he's got breasts and he's growing his hair out and he got his Adam's apple shaved. And one of the plastic surgeons said that's one of the first things that they do when they start to trans over. Is like you get that shaved down. And so he was like, no, I've always hated it. It's like, to me, it's not enough to go in there and have them scraping my throat out,
I think this world's gone insane. I mean, it's like, okay, I've never been a person to think I was in the wrong body.
Yeah.
Right now, I like to see a thinner body, but I'm in the right body, okay? But I really have a hard time understanding all this transgender stuff. I mean,
yeah.
So they went through their lives all the time, and they're totally miserable, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I just can't buy that.
Well, I don't know anything about it either, but I kind of feel bad for the people that say, I've never felt like I should be a girl. I should be a boy. And like they had a special on about transgender, and they had kids as young as kid was like 10 years old or something, and even when they were younger than that, they had this lady had a baby, and there was something wrong or whatever, but she had to decide if it was going to be a boy or a girl, and then she chose it was a girl, and or a boy changed over to a girl or something like that. But now the little girl that used to be a boy, she looks fully like a little girl. And they were asking her about how did she feel about that, and she was like, they said, well, how did you feel as being a boy? And she was like, I hated it. I mean, she looked like she's about 6 years old. How do you ask those kind of questions?
I see somebody in that age, I think that have that much feelings about your sexuality or whatever. I think there's got to be a lot of input from an adult. Because, I mean, when I was 6 years old, I was aware I was a boy, and I always had a crush on girls. I never went through that typical, what they call latency period, but I always knew I liked girls, but I never had this, I think there's a lot of people feeding a lot of crap into people's kids' heads. I really do. I think that's all there is. I mean, I think you have to say, since we don't grow up in a vacuum, I think a lot of that's got to be put on by the adults around them. I really do.
Yeah, I try to stay away from that topic because I never know what to say, and so I just don't say anything. Because me, I just be like, oh, I don't know what to say.
Well, it's like, right now, I think they overdiagnose people like ADHD and all.
Yeah,
that.
well, I definitely believe that because my boy was in that category, and he has symptoms of several things, and when he was on medication, he was only on them for like 3 years, and after that I took him off because it didn't seem to be working and doing him any good. So I was like, why am I doing it? So I just had to make the corporate decision to take him out of it.
Right.
And I know one of my relatives' kids were having some difficulty in school, and it wasn't because of that, but that's the first thing the teacher said was, oh, they're hyperactive, they need some medicine. And I was saying to myself, that can't be true. It's got to be something else. Well, then, you find out when you have trouble at home, you have a problem at home, you go to school, you have a problem at school, it is hard to concentrate. So the answer is not always medicating the kids, but the doctor got to make his money. The teachers think they're doing a job, but they just, and I think they get carried away. Some of the teachers are not trained to be sensitive, and I just don't understand. That's why I was so glad to get my boy through school and out the door.
Yeah, I think, I think when I was a kid, they said that they told my parents were told that I was a hyperactive kid by the teachers. So they took me to the family physician, and he's still practicing medicine around here. He's a great guy.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, he examined me and stuff, asked about my habits and stuff for me and for my mom and dad, and he sat down there and he just wrote all the information down. He said, kids are kids. He said, my kids exactly like this because teacher had a hard time with me because I didn't like focusing on what they wanted to focus on at the time they wanted to focus on.
Yeah.
Another thing is too, I hate to say this, but teachers like to indoctrinate kids. And if you have any issues with what they say about politicals, and then another thing is they shouldn't be chiming in so much about their political views. And this is in the 70s. But the doctor said, your kid's a kid, and my kid's the same, and his kid became a osteopathic doctor himself, so probably it was a good indication. Nothing really seriously wrong with him either.
Right.
And it's like we talked about that during the community parenting class show a couple weeks ago. If we had last week, we had done this years ago, we would have had Einstein. They would have medicated the hell out of him, and he would have been as inventive as he was. So I think a lot of that crap's just crap.
Yeah. So the other day that TMZ was showing that Ray J had a run-in with the cops, and they put him in the police car, and he kicked out the window and spit at the cop and everything. And then they showed him coming out the jail. He's hopping and skipping, like nothing ever happened. And I just thought, I don't understand how people get into stuff like that, and when they respond like that, laughing and stuff, what kind of example are you showing? So many people still love you and all that, but when does it stop? I mean, when are you going to grow up and stop that these are not the kind of things you do? How you going to kick a window out of a police car?
Yeah, but look at this. This is very cheap publicity. All he has to replace is he pays a fine. He's not going to serve any serious time.
Yeah, he paid a fine and he got out, and I'm just looking at it going, now, remember when Reese Witherspoon got in trouble and they handcuffed her and threw her in the back of the police car, and she was like, I'm an American, do you know who I am? And they ragged on her forever and a day. And he comes out, hop, skipping, and jumping, and they're like, so Ray, we heard you got into a little trouble. He was like, it wasn't nothing. And then when the whole story come out, how they had, locked him in the car and he kicked out the windows. He's bad as, Bieber. When I look at the stuff Bieber's doing lately, I mean, what is wrong with that kid?
I mean, again, there's no such thing as bad publicity. There's no such thing as it. I mean, you could rape somebody and let's face it, Kobe Bryant, all these other guys, they still have careers after allegations.
Yeah.
And let's face it, a lot of people believe Kobe Bryant was responsible, did actually commit the rape and stuff. So I don't know. I didn't even watch that stuff because those are celebrities. They don't.
Yeah. The thing is, it's hard to believe it as rape just because so many people be chasing them down and they have so many choices of women. Why would they rape somebody? Why? All they got to do is say yes. And the girls are going to be on it. It was just hard for me to believe that. I mean, they put it out there and he went through all that, but it's just hard to believe that should have been rape.
But the point is, I'm going to make is like, okay, the guy breaking out the windows of a squad car, that stuff that Bieber's doing. If that was normal kids doing that, they would never see the freaking light of day.
And
ever.
Yeah, I mean, they would take them and chain them to a chair for the rest of their life. But Bieber, I'm thinking with Usher bringing him on board like that, he should be plenty pissed because he's the one who brought him here and got him where he is. And he just all of a sudden, he went from this nice kid singing the good songs to this little tatted up brat. And he's just doing everything. He's singing songs with the N word. He's laughing about it. He's pissing in mop buckets, and he's, cussing at Bill Clinton. I mean, you just name it, and he's spitting off the balcony at people. It's like, what is wrong with him? And then he's got bodyguards and he's got caretakers around him, and nobody's doing anything.
Well, it's because, they're out there, they're older, and they're signed to him, but he still signs your paycheck.
Yeah, that's probably what he'd say too. Remember, who pay you?
Yeah, I mean.
But after a while, you would think there's got to be a morality clause or something. Like some of them sign the contracts, and they'll have clauses like that to say, you out there acting a fool in public, we're going to shut you down.
Did you ever see the old Marx Brothers about the sanity clause? And the guy goes, what clause? That's in the contract. He goes, what clause? He goes, the sanity clause. He goes, Santa Claus. There's no Santa Claus.
That's like, Tim, what's his name? Tim the Tool Man did that show, Santa Claus. Yeah. And it was really a clause, C-L-A-U-S-E.
Yeah, that's what I thought. But yeah, I mean, these guys are insane. I mean, and everybody around them is insane.
Yeah.
I mean,
those kind of things that when I look at, it's like I never cared much for B because he's too young and it's not my kind of music. But all these young girls and boys looking up to him, they even had on True Life this boy that wanted to look so much like Bieber. He was going in having surgery and everything, and he looked nothing like Bieber.
You know what? I swear to God, when I first saw him and I saw his name printed out, I didn't know he was a he.
He looked like a little girl.
Yeah, I thought it was Justine. I mean, because let's face it, some people don't put
He's so cute. He was so cute. And then when he took his bangs up, and then he was really a handsome young man. But then he started getting the tattoos. And then somebody was like, oh, he need to quit hanging with Lil Rip, Lil Tip, all these, whatever those boys' names are. And then when he stepped out that van, he opened the door and weed smoke came out before he did. I was like, no, he didn't. And his TMZ was right there, got the whole picture. It was so funny. And then he was doing an interview. He's sitting up in there like this, like, yeah, yeah. And I was just going, where are the caretakers? The people in that van knew he was smoking. And nobody did anything.
They probably procured for him.
And when he opened that door and the smoke came out, that was just like last night, TMZ had recorded Jessica Simpson coming out the club, blitzed, hair all messed up, hungry as hell. Her driver went to Jack in the Box and brought her some food to the nightclub. They was like, who does that? Who brings in Jack in the Box?
You're going to have food brought in, something better than that.
That's what I'm saying. He brings in 2 big old stuffed bags of Jack in the Box because she was so hungry, but she was so drunk, it was crazy. Now, she just got done with her weight watching, and they said, well, we know one thing you're not doing is watching your calories.
Well, she's probably saying, well, I'm doing coke and burn it off. I don't know if she's doing coke, by the way.
Well, no, she was drunk. Her eyes was like, and she was saying stuff like they couldn't even understand what she was saying, and she was like stumbling, and her fiance was walking over here holding her up, and I would have been so embarrassed. Just like, come on, why he let her get like that? If he's in there with her, why he let her get like that?
What do you think?
Well, duh. I don't understand it.
It's like they're already boffing, so I don't think you have to get her drunk for her to do you. So. But I mean, let's face it, how great can that be if you're with a chick, you're boffing away, and you realize that she's about to puke all over you?
I know. She'd be like, wait 1 minute.
That's like weird. It's like, basically, if you want to get puked on, have a kid. You're going to puke on you at some point.
That's too much. So then, they the big thing about Will Smith and Jada's, their daughter was in the bed with that guy. And he's supposed to be like a family friend. She's 13, he's 20, and they got a picture of them lounging in bed together. And they're saying, oh, there's nothing wrong with that. You guys mind going to the gutter? I mean, what are we supposed to think?
He had his shirt off too, right?
He had his shirt off. There's a picture of him. She laying in bed, and she's got the cover up here. Look like she's naked. And then he's sitting up there with his shirt off. So, I mean, what are we supposed to think?
Besides, I'd like to know, why would they allow somebody to snap a picture of that if they didn't want it as their tongues? It's all PR.
Yeah, but then they said CPS, what they call it, L.A. County Department of Children and Family Services. They said they investigating, they taking it very serious.
Yeah, until enough money is spent around it goes away.
But I just don't understand how they would let that. I understand that they have this open, fluent marriage or whatever it is, but when you start talking about your 13-year-old, I don't care if it is a family friend, he's 20 years old, you ain't gonna be lounging in the bed with my child.
I just think that there's over sexualization, especially in Hollywood. Children from an early age are sexualized, and they're made to. We're all sexual people. We know that. We know. I don't not to cop his song for lyric from Marvin Gaye either, but but it's
With
like
that sexual healing.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, the sexual feeling, you need some
No,
sexual
it's like,
healing.
let's get it on. Actually, that's it.
Oh, that one.
Let's get it on. Yeah. But anyway, but I mean, okay, we realize that, but when I was 13 years old, I didn't want my parents knowing I was having those thoughts, much less acting out like that. If I was acting out like that.
But
they're encouraging it.
They let them do it. It's crazy. And of course, I watch a lot of reality shows, and I started watching the Marriage Boot Camp. That show cracks me up because Jim and Elizabeth Carroll, I guess, are like life coaches, some kind of coaches, and now they have some reality stars on this season. They've got Tracy Braxton, from the Braxton family, and they got the girl from Bad Girls Club and her husband. They got Ryan and Trista, the first couple from The Bachelorette that got married, and they got Gretchen and her man from the Real Housewife of OC, Orange County. And when I started looking at them, and they go in there and they start telling their stories, it's like it's a whole different story from what you see on their show versus what they have to come clean with, for them to get help. And then they start talking about who cheated. Like Tracy Braxton, her husband, was talking, and she was like, told him, "You cheated first, and then I went and cheated after that." And they were like, "You did that?" And she was like, "Well, I just wanted him to feel what I felt." So I don't get it. Sometimes people do stupid stuff and then they put it on TV like that.
You see, I'm from a blue collar background. You cheat on your spouse. When you're a guy cheating on your wife in this blue collar world, you don't do that because you're gonna liable to wake up dead.
Yeah,
it's gonna kill you when you're sleeping, man.
That's my point. Well, and the thing too is like you already on a reality show with the rest of the girls, and now your story's coming out, because even on the show they talked about how her husband was supposed to have a secret love child out there, and how the other sister and her husband got a divorce, and then the other sister and her husband got a divorce, and Tony divorced. It was like just craziness going around. So I was like, well, I don't know. I don't know. I like the reality shows, but sometimes it seems like they just put too much out there. And I guess that's what they're supposed to do. I don't know.
But I think it was a quick trip around the. I think they created this first reality show during a writer's strike, and now we're stuck with them. But how reality are they? They're scripted to some degree. They're scripted anyway.
Well, I don't know, because like when I watch them, I just wonder how much stuff do they have to say to make it exciting, because I watch them just for the drama. I like to see. I don't understand why all the women that are supposed to be so friendly, every time they see each other, they hugging and kissing, hugging each other, and then they backstabbing each other. Oh, so-and-so said so about you, and so-and-so said so about you, and then they all get together, and then they're like, oh, I heard you said so, and you said so. Now it's a big fight, and now they might fall out for a little while. Okay, we're going to meet separately. We're going to talk about, okay, we all good. Then they come back and they start all over again.
They're seeing that kind of stuff where they're always hugging and kissing each other in the cheek.
Yeah, to me, every single time. I mean, it could be 15 minutes later, they see each other. Oh, hi. And I'm saying that's too much damn hugging and kissing.
Well, to me, it reminds me of the Sopranos. I mean, they hug and kiss each other too, but they also order hits on each other.
That's it. That's it. Because when I watch, like, The Real Housewives of Atlanta, now they got a spinoff, Candy, that's getting married, because they did a Nene, she got married. Now Candy's getting married. Candy's mother doesn't like her fiance, and she told Candy that his family said he was raised by a pimp and a prostitute, and then they got into a fight about that, and I was just sitting there going, how can she just be so mean? And then she's like, Candy asked her to walk her down the aisle to give her away, and she said, no, I don't want to do it. Let your daddy do it. He's never did anything for you anyways. And I thought, oh my gosh, she's so cold-blooded. But I just don't know. Some of those shows, I love them, but they're like train wrecks. You don't want to look at them, but you gotta look at them.
You know, those Hollywood people are a lot like a lot of the people I grew up around here. Like the families that are into basically would kill each other off. You know that baby sharks in the womb will start eating each other.
Ugh.
That's why that's why I liken those people onto, man. I mean, they would they're like sharks in the womb. They'll eat each other.
They'll just eat each other up, and whatever spits out left, that's what's left.
I mean, it's a horror. I mean, it's like I'm watching. There's no real. I mean, if you just look at Hollywood, for example, and what I've seen here, I don't think anybody has any real true feelings towards each other of benevolence and love. I mean,
well, it's
opportunistic.
It's the old couples that were still married for so long. And if you find somebody in Hollywood that's been married more than 10 years, then they're doing really well. Because what I see happening with them is when they do the prenup, they say, okay, you got 3 years to mess up, and then you're out the door. And a lot of them just make it to 3 years. Some of them don't. Some of them be married like 72 days. What is that? And you done spent millions on the wedding and, all this fancy stuff. And then Chloe, she did her wedding in like 30 days. I think she was married like 4 years. And it's like, I don't understand it. Something go wrong. They don't think to talk about it, work it out. Let's just break it up.
Yeah, I'd be a very unscrupulous caterer out there in Hollywood. Help people get together. Then after they're all, after I got the party, then after I'll try to work it so I can get them to break up. So then I could cater the divorce party.
The divorce party.
And then I could cater the next wedding.
And you can cater the funeral.
Yeah, California, it's like, Martin Luther wrote, if he visited Rome, and he said after he visited it was so horrific, he said, if there's a hell, truly Rome is the gateway to it. That's what I think about Hollywood area.
Yeah.
There was like this, to what I hear about it, I would have nothing to do. I would not want to be there.
Well, to me, it's just too busy, too crowded. It's like New York. It's too busy, too crowded. It would be good to visit, but I don't think I'd want to live there all the time. Now, I think I would rather I could live in Philadelphia because with the museums and all that kind of stuff, and it's not so crowded. But when you start talking about New York with millions and millions of people, and you talk about California with millions of people, the freeway, I couldn't just jump on the highway like here and go where I got to go. I got to plan it an hour in advance.
Well, see, I'm not a germaphobe by any measure, but if I was in New York and, you go down the subway and you got the railings going down there. Yeah. All these foreigners from all parts of the world, freshly arrived, that thing, if you touch that thing, you might get something exotic nobody's ever seen in the Western Hemisphere.
Don't say that.
And so it's like, I'd become so germaphobic, I'd become like a Howie Mandel or something like that. I wouldn't touch anything. I'd walk around and I guess he has to put newspapers down on the carpeting of the hotel rooms because he doesn't want to touch the carpeting.
That's too much.
I think I'd be if I can understand why people from New York though or L.A. would get like that though. Let's face it, all the teeming masses spitting up on each other and sneezing on top of each other. Oh God.
Well, I don't know about it being just foreigners, but I don't like subways anyways. My niece just put some pictures up when she went to New York, I guess for the weekend or something with her friends, and she was showed a picture of the subway, and it's all nice and clean down there. And I told her, I said, I don't care, it's underground. I'm still scared.
Toronto's one of the. I've been to Chicago where they have subway system.
Yeah.
And they're kind of grungy. They're not horrible. They're not horrible. They're not as bad as New York, from what I understand. I've only seen pictures of New York.
Well, I've seen like Linda, Peterson went to New York a while back. Her and Paul Peterson. And the pictures that she showed of the subway, it was clean. And I told her, I said, that wasn't even what I was expecting to see. She showed the trains and everything. Everything was clean. And she took pictures of all the main sites. She had the Statue of Liberty, she had the Flatiron Building, she had Times Square, and all this stuff. And I'm like, that's the stuff I want to see. But I don't know that I can go underground in that subway. I just don't know if I can do it.
No, see, I like the subways in Chicago. It's like, Toronto though, hands down. It's basically, I don't know how they can keep everything so.
Well, they have a whole city in Toronto underground.
Yeah.
And I had seen that on one of the specials, one of Travel Channel or something. And so when me and Quay was looking for places to go, and I saw that, and I was like, there's a whole city under Toronto that I never even knew about. And I was thinking, well, next time we go to Canada, then we know exactly where we're going. But I want to see Niagara Falls too, because I've never been there.
It's like I've had friends that my sister and her family just went there a few months. Well, last summer, in Niagara Falls. They took pictures of it. And
Yeah, it's beautiful, and I've never been there, so that's still on my bucket list. And just like, oh well, I'll get
barrel
there.
ready?
Huh?
You got your barrel ready?
My barrel is ready. I'm gonna jump in head first.
Yeah.
But so yeah, they got this in this book. They've got all these people with no makeup. Whenever they do the shows like the pictures like this, it's always funny to see. I guess once you wear makeup so much and you take it off, you do look like some of these people in here. I mean, some of these people in here take terrible pictures with no makeup. They've got like Faye Dunaway is 73 years old. Oh my goodness, she looks horrific. Even Adele at 26. I mean, she's very pale. I guess it's amazing. And then they got Tori Spelling. Oh Lord.
It's like all these people talk about how gorgeous they are. I was like, you know what? You probably got a better chance of meeting up with real beautiful women in the average city in the United States. Because how many people have $150,000 to spend on plastic surgery and makeup?
Well, you know what's funny is when I see the shows where they actually have makeup artists and stuff come to their house. Oh, here's my hair person. Here's my makeup person. They come to their house and make them up, and it's like, who does that? I mean, why would you do that? They pay people to come in and paint their faces.
Image is everything.
Well, I guess.
You ever see that movie Brazil? His mom, the character's mom was like kept on getting like facial, plastic surgery on her face and stuff, and basically her face just started crumbling up, and it was horrible. But it's not like a Michael Jackson, you know. What I mean? It's I mean, we're all vain though, but see, and ours would be manifested if we were in the public eye more. You know, we really would. We'd get so self-conscious. You know, we would go out and get all those surgeries and stuff because we don't want to be. Let's face it, they judge you just because you're a politician. They judge you how nice your hair is.
Yeah,
that's idiocy.
You spend $150 on a haircut. I think that's a bit much.
It's like, how much different can that be from somebody getting $10 an hour cutting, or $10 for your haircut?
Right.
You're still using scissors or clippers. That's about it.
Yeah. What's the difference other than the location?
Yeah, I mean, you're paying for ambiance, and maybe they serve you coffee. I don't know.
And some of the little boutiques they go to, like the women's shop, they serve them champagne, and then they have high-end clothes and shoes and purses.
See, after all that champagne, you don't give a shit if your hair looks good or not. You're ripped. I mean,
well, they go in there and they buy up everything. They have shoes, like $1,500 shoes. Oh, I'll take a pair of those, and they come out. You know, like when Paris Hilton and Nicole Richie used to have their show, and they would show her shopping, they would plop down the black credit card, and it's like, oh, your bill today is $5,000 or whatever. You know, it's like, okay, and it'd be like 2-3 little items. It's like, okay.
You know what I like to do is to start a shop somewhere. I mean, I won't have to be celebrity. I just take their money. Because and make it look as good as possible. But take everything you could for these people. They will love you for it.
That's pitiful.
The more they spend there, the more they'll spend on you too at your shops. The more they love you. They think you're like a friend.
Well, you know, I don't understand how sometimes when they have, they'll say, this doctor, he sticks needles in you and he has the juice of a wild boar to put in your face, and it makes you, you know, and I'm thinking, are these things for real? I mean, they spending cash money for these doctors to do all these things to them, and it's like, how do you know that stuff is for real? I mean, you know, by the time you get 50, if you make it, you probably gonna be all lumped up and stuff. I mean, how do you know that stuff is real?
Yeah, I mean, because it's there. You go into this beautifully designed salon, and it looks clean. It looks almost like a kind of a beautifulized hospital. And you got people walking around in smocks.
And they say, well, oh, how much is your shot today? Oh, it's gonna be $500. Okay, credit card. And then they come out. They like this other article in here about Nicole Kidman talking about Botox ruined her face. Now, how many people stand around getting needles poked in their face? Not I.
I mean, I think it's, do you ever see the episode of Frasier where his brother is dating a plastic surgeon, and he was going to ask her out, but he kept on not working up the nerves, so she's giving him Botox injections and stuff. Like, he was visiting her as a patient, and the mosquito landed on him and bit him right there where he had Botox, and it died. It died just as soon as it sucked his blood away. It had that Botox and it died.
See?
I mean, why would you have that face full? Why would you have your body pumped full of this toxin? I mean,
well, and knowing that it's poison, I don't understand how the FDA allows it to be injected into your face. I mean, it's like telling you to go play with some salmonella from your chicken. You know it's not good for you, but yeah, we're going to let you do it.
Well, because people who developed it have, the FDA's got doctors in it, and they like money too. And I'm not suggesting they're on the take, but look at every commercial you see. Like you got a problem with anxiety.
Right.
So they give you medication, then they just go on, this is going to help you. Right. But it may cause this, and then blithely inserted, may cause death. It might, then also might cause more depression. Okay,
yeah.
Isn't that why you're taking antidepressants for?
Well, what bothers me is when they have all those pills online, and they have all the pills, and they tell you that the side effects. Well, this is good for this, but you may have a couple side effects. And then they read off a list this long of side effects. And then they come back with a smile and be like, yep, but it's good for you.
By the time they get done reading off the side effects, I'm thinking, what the hell was I supposed to be taking this
right.
for?
What's left?
You just named off everything we try to stop under medical science. And
that's what I mean. I just be like, what? I don't understand it. I don't even understand when FDA approved medications and stuff like that, and then they have all these side effects. How can you approve it?
And we take pride in the FDA, and it's done some good things. But other countries like in Europe, they do experimental stuff. They have people, but you don't seem to have the lawsuits or the damage done to people that we are. It's like we make all these prescription drugs and stuff like that, and we're the consumer of 90% of them. That's insane. From one thing, just from an economic perspective, we're not even exporting this crap.
Right.
We're using it ourselves.
I don't know. It just, the whole thing bothered me. That's why when I see so much stuff on the news and all these different medications coming out and they all have 100 side effects, it's like, I don't want to take them. But then they're like, but you need to take it. But then you're going to have to go through eyeballs popping out, hair falling out, teeth falling out. Once you get past all of that, now it's going to do what it's supposed to do.
After that happens, you could sue somebody that you can get all the money so you can go to those fancy clinics and get.
No, I want to go and buy my teeth back. That's what I would be like. No, you just, now that I've sued everybody, I'm buy me some good hair and some more teeth, and it's like, that's crazy. A lot of things that happen like that, I just don't understand.
Just talking about this stuff, it just dawned on me. It's like, we're so proud to be Americans, most of us, and then you're wondering all this crap that we allow. What the hell? The outsiders probably have a better view of us than we have of ourselves.
Well, they probably don't do the same things we do either, but yet everybody wants to come to America.
Because they want to partake in the insanity.
That's a good one. They want to come over here to go insane.
We think you're insane, but we want to see this up close.
We're the ones that's insane for keep doing stuff like this to ourselves.
Well, there's a voyeuristic thing in everybody. A streak in everybody. Let's face it, we know we're not supposed to look at our neighbor's window, but if we look across and see somebody stripping or somebody, we're going to watch.
We'd be like, oh, there goes that train wreck again.
And then look, how many times you're at a public place, a fight breaks up between a boyfriend or girlfriend, husband, wife.
Or anybody.
And you're sitting there, you find yourself totally disregarding what you're there for to watch this unfold.
That's why they post so much of that stuff online, because when they get to fighting, and it was so funny you mentioned that, because the other day I was on Facebook and there was a video of this chick fighting this guy, and she had on one of these pull-up sundresses that just come right here. So the guy, I don't know, said something, so it was her and a girl and these two guys. Her and this guy got into it. She bust that dude up so bad, she bust him up that she fought right out of her dress. She was swinging. She had him on the ground. Her dress dropped to here. Her boobs were flying, and everybody was still taking the pictures. She did not let up. She slung him on the ground, and then his friend came over and tried to jump in. She bust him up. By that time, she had him on the ground. Her dress had made it all the way down to her butt. She had butt cheeks and everything out. Then they got up and they tried to jump on her, the girl that she was with. By that time, she done bust the dude up. She done stepped out of her dress. She fighting buck naked.
You have to send me this link.
It was funny though. It was so funny because I looked at it twice. I said, this girl did not care that she was bucket naked. She bust his ass up. She bust both of them up. Then she picked her dress up off the ground and went strutting and got in her car. And she was like, now run and tell that. That was hilarious. I was like, oh my God. I couldn't believe it. I'd have been too embarrassed. I mean, I don't fight in the street like that anyways, but she didn't care. Those guys will not bother her again.
No, I mean, that kind of stuff goes on in the neighborhood, but most of the women here are not worth looking at, dressed or not. So I mean, it's like,
well, she was not that great either, but she didn't care. She took them both down and got him off of her friend, and then she went over there, picked up her dress. She didn't even bother to put it back on. She just picked it up off the ground and walked and got in her car. I was like, and they were cracking up. They was like, look at her titties, look at her titties. I said, please stop. They really need to stop posting so much stuff online like that.
Because you've been staying up too late watching it.
They shouldn't put it up there. I mean, I don't share the links because I don't advocate fighting and stuff like that. And they have a lot of them. They have a lot of them. Look, girls, kids, everything fighting. But I never share the link. I just look at them and shake my head because it's like, why would you take the time to videotape it and then post it? You know, pretty much everything you do, there's a camera somewhere watching you.
Did you ever see the movie Big, when he was like he was hiding out in New York City, and he was on his own, Tom Hanks character, and he grew up really suddenly in that movie. Anyway, he was watching this shootout movie, like crime and violence movie on the TV in his room. It was a real decrepit room that he had rented with the limited resources he had. And he was scared, alone. He shut that off. And then the same thing was going on TV was going outside his window. And it's like, that's the reason why I never watched Springer for it, because, I mean, basically my neighborhood is like a Jerry Springer show writ large.
I know, and mine is getting like that. That's why it's time to go.
I knew two families who actually appeared on the Jerry Springer show in the 90s. I mean, that's like, I don't want to tell you who they are.
Well, that was back when Springer was really good, because I don't even watch him anymore like I used to. They don't let him fight like they used to.
They bolted all the couches and chairs down. It was no more.
Well, they used to rip out hair and everything. Now they'll let them throw some cake and punch, but when they really fight, they have to move the camera. When they first come on the scene, boy, it would be scrapping. I loved it. They was ripping weaves out, flinging them out into the crowd. And they was like, okay, you got bodyguards up there. Now we're going to have to sue you because your bodyguards, when Steve was on there, it was like, you got security and you letting them fight like that. So it's against the law. So they had to, like, when they get into a big old fight, they move the camera. And then they bring the camera back. And it's like, I'm watching it because I want to see the fight.
Well, my friend told me too. He said, like, behind the scenes, they have like the green room,
right? And
they have like a food there. And if some of the guests don't have teeth and stuff, they got like mashed potatoes and all this soft food available for them. I mean, it's like definitely not the. We're not talking about the stellar population cut here.
Those are the people that come on Springer, the toothless aggression.
But the thing is, I mean, what's any difference between that? They just actually are out there getting dirty, their own hands dirty.
Right.
The rich people just get their lawyers to do it for them.
Right.
So there's no real big difference between these people. I mean, there really isn't.
Well, I tell you what, it's just too bad that that kind of stuff happens with them videotaping everything. Because a lot of that stuff gets really graphic. I've seen stuff where they look like somebody dead on the road and they running them over or shooting them and stuff like that. And it's like, I don't even want to see that anymore. So when I look at stuff like that, I just be like, let's keep it moving.
Remember a couple of years ago, that poor girl got killed right here? So they ran over her twice.
Yeah. I was coming to the studio that day when they were down, and I had to go all the way around and come up because I was like, what's going on down at the studio? And then I found it was like at the corner.
Yeah, and it's like that body was covered up when you saw it.
Yeah, when I came, it was covered up, and that was the next day.
It was close to 11:30 in the morning, early afternoon when you were coming to do your show. And I guess she was killed around 2 or 3 in the morning.
Yep, it was still covered up when I got here.
Yeah, so I walked around it. I walked around it because I was coming in from my house.
Right.
And I had to go around it. And I'm like, oh God. I mean, I saw feet sticking out underneath the tarp there.
I don't even want to know about it.
But it was like, so horrific. But I mean, could you imagine? I mean, I can understand a passion where you hit somebody over their head with something.
Right.
I can understand. I'm not condoning it. I can understand that.
Mm-hmm.
But running a person down and running over that person twice with a vehicle.
And she had a walker.
Yeah, I mean that was That's got to be a first. I mean, I've heard of in Flint.
Well, that was, I had my guest come that day too, when we had the little comedian on,
Yeah.
and he was like, "What's it, a body down the street from the studio?" I said, "Oh, we done scared them away now. Nobody's gonna come over when you see bodies on the corner by the studio."
But it's and like I said, it could be anywhere though. I mean, look at Hollywood and stuff like that. I mean, beautiful, multi-million-dollar homes. People
Yeah.
still get killed there.
Yeah.
I mean,
it could happen anywhere. I'm just ready to go to and try to find a safer spot. I mean, it's got to be safer. It's got to be more space. It's time to make a change. Because if certain people weren't on the block, it would be nicer. But now that my street just runs the whole gamut all the way down to the apartments, it's just crazy. Because now my street, people drive down it like Dort Highway.
Right.
So
and you moved there. When you moved there, I had a friend that was living down the street from me at the time, and I knew him before before you moved down there. And that neighborhood was pretty much an upper class suburban place. Almost.
It's nice when in the evenings when it's quiet, but then when all the kids break out, like we waiting for school to get out so we can really see how many people come down the street. But it's just too fast driving, too much noise, and then when people start stealing from you, then it's like it's time to go. Because it's like I felt like with them taking the stuff out of my yard, it could have been out of my house,
right?
And I just don't want to be dealing with that kind of stuff.
Because I mean it's. Yeah, another thing is it's like one time when I was a kid, I got this big old metal can, and the neighbor gave it. It was a store across the street gave it to me, so I cleaned it up. It was a big lard container, but it was like 30 gallons.
Right.
So I cleaned it up and I spray painted it and stuff, and I put trash on it, stenciled it on there. I put huge cement slabs, and I put a garbage bag in there. It was out for 3 days, and some SOB stole the garbage can. I mean, it's like, why would you steal a garbage can?
It was decorated.
Yeah, it's like. And it's like, well, we want, and the scrappers. I mean, if you sat there if you're looking at birds and you got your mouth open too long, they're going to be in there prying your damn dental work.
Right.
I'm sick of these people.
Yeah, that's what I mean. It's gone crazy. So it's just time to make the move, and I'm just like, I'm ready.
Well, so do you want to move like out of Genesee County totally, or?
Well, I probably just move outside of Flint and just like take like the township or some subdivision somewhere, because I don't think I'm going to be leaving Genesee County, but it's time to make a move out of that community.
Man, you've been there for a few years now.
Yeah, 16 years.
Wow.
And so my neighbor and I was always laughing because she says when she turns 62, she's going to do a reverse mortgage. Well, she's got probably 10 years left. And I could actually do it next year, but I don't want to do it.
Well, besides, what are they going to give you in the houses if there are areas where nobody's buying it?
Well, the thing is, one of my other friends just tried somebody for that, and they were saying that their house was appraised in the 50s, and they gonna offer them 16, so that didn't make any sense.
But yeah, I mean, I've seen back in the 80s. I even seen a friend of mine whose dad was working with the local government here. A house over on East Court Street. I mean, it was a 2-story brick house. Mm-hmm. It had an apartment in the basement. I mean, a full apartment.
Right.
It had a beautiful upstairs with a bathroom there, and it had a bathroom on the main floor.
Mm-hmm.
Hardwood floors throughout. The major floors, upstairs and the first floor. Beautiful brick garage. Small yard, very small yard.
Yeah.
Back then, they should have probably got 85 for it.
Right.
They only could get 50 for it.
Yeah.
And that was right in the East Village area. Nice area.
Well, right now they probably gonna get even less.
Probably about 10.
Yeah, because our assessments is down. I don't know what is wrong with Flint other than the economy altogether, but the whole community assessment is down. So selling my house is going to be a task in itself.
Well, yeah, it's like
I can buy another one easier than I can sell mine.
And it's like thing is though you paid into that, but you're not going to get any of your equity out.
No, and all the improvements and everything, they're just like gone. But I've enjoyed them. That's why I said I want to do it, so at least I can enjoy them. I don't want to put all this into the house and then sell, and the next person come in and enjoy it. But now it's just time to make the move, and I don't know what, like in Burden they was talking about people, the assessments over there was about like Flint, and it's like people don't know what to do anymore. It's like a lot of people want to move out of Flint altogether, move out of Michigan, but the economy is bad everywhere. I want to go to Alaska, live on the water, and me and Quay fish every day.
See, I think if anybody in Flint had money land in their lap, just drop out of nowhere, I think the bulk of the people who got that set up or whatever would get the hell out. I mean, I don't think anybody'd say, no, I'd stay.
Oh, I
don't think
would.
anybody would stay.
I would, quick as you could blink an eye. Me and Quay's bag would be packed before the check clears.
That's what I'm saying. Everybody would get the hell out of here. I mean,
Oh,
everybody.
yeah.
I mean, I think the city council members would jump on a train if they had 75 to 100,000.
Well, they trying to get paid more money anyway.
For
so,
doing nothing.
Yeah, so I don't even think they should get paid. I think that they already have day jobs. They could put that money back into the community or
if
something.
they're truly servants, why don't, I mean, let's face it, I know guys who go pick up trash and do other stuff for the city. I was a probation caseworker for 9 years, didn't receive a paycheck. Why are these bulls all saying that they're worth 30,000 plus a health insurance coverage? They want more? For what? Running this place into the ground? That's like the CEOs of corporations that ran into the ground getting bonuses for doing that.
Yeah. They get fired, but yet they get a bonus because it's in their contract. We don't get a contract.
Yeah, I mean, basically, I think it should be performance-based, and if you screw up, you get stuff taken from you.
They should be giving that money back.
Exactly. Claw that money back.
I'll take some like right now.
You hear about Michael Moore, by the way, going through a divorce?
Uh-uh.
Yeah, he and his wife, and he's saying that the reason why he has that huge house out in the Traverse City area is it was the insistence of his wife and all this stuff. And yeah, this is turning to be an ugly divorce. I mean, this guy who always preaches about, I guess it's going to be more bitter because, it's more personal.
Right.
But I mean, yeah, he's saying it's all his wife's fault. I mean, it's like, gee, you're that PW. He could say, honey, I got to stick up for my values because I got people looking over my shoulder all the time.
Right.
Yeah, it's a messy divorce. I mean, I'm not going to rag on it because it's a divorce. I don't relish anybody going through a divorce. I mean, It's got to be hard. I mean, he married late in life, too. Pretty late in life.
Yeah.
So.
Oh, well, what the heck. Well, anyways, today was a fun day. We got to rag on a whole bunch of people, talk about a whole bunch of different things, and none of them was relevant.
Well, overall, though, if you look at all these components, they're indicative of what's going on in society and what's wrong with society. I mean, it sounds like gossip.
And that's all it is, because when they put out these magazines, it's gossip. Right. A lot of times it'll come true, but this is the fun of reading. That's why I have a subscription.
National Enquirer, though. How many times National Enquirer actually, people rag on National Enquirer.
Yeah, but the stuff comes true.
A lot of stuff comes true.
Yeah, I mean, they put it in here, and 9 times out of 10, it'll come true.
Right.
So when people say, oh, it's just gossip, okay, just give it a minute. They going to let you know, because they can't continually put false stuff in here and get sued and still have a magazine.
Right. I mean,
you wouldn't be able to afford it.
Right. So,
most of the stuff that they put in here comes true. And I just sit back and wait. But I love these magazines. I call them my rags, just like I would like the Real Housewives and all those reality shows. I love them just because of the gossip and all that kind of craziness. That's why I said today when we started talking myself, I was reading this book at home and I was like, well, I'm just going to take these in and we can just rag on everybody. I don't care. They don't know me.
The Kardashians, oh man, I just think that are.
Yeah.
I'm just thinking dismayed. I mean, whoever heard of them until their dad represented the Kardashian?
I never heard of him till he was with OJ.
Yeah.
And she was friends with Paris Hilton before, and I never heard of her. So after that, then they just get famous for what?
Having big boobs.
What? Like I said, they get famous for. I don't know.
They're prostitutes with a well-established name. No. That's what they are. I mean, their house is nothing more than a brothel in many ways. I mean, that's what they are. I mean, let's face it. I mean, the Bunny Ranch is more straightforward.
Next time I'm in Vegas, I'm going out there. I want to see the Bunny Ranch. I may not go inside, but I'm just going to ride by and take a picture and be like, yes, I've been to the Bunny Ranch.
But like that, it's a bizarre concept. All cultures have forms of prostitution, and some of it's actually, some cultures it's not really frowned upon as much as Western culture, but it seems to be still prevalent, even though we have this disdain for it. I mean, it's like but that's what the Kardashians, in my opinion, are very, well placed hookers. Basically, I mean, there's not much real difference. I mean,
well, you probably hear from them. They'll be like, "Oh, Chris will call you up."
That'd be cool if they call us up, because
that would
no
be
such
cool.
thing as bad PR. Look at, I mean, we don't have the ratings. Could we imagine if we got approached by them, even if
they was fussing us out?
A cease and desist order. Oh my God, that'd be like a badge of honor.
Be
for
like,
us.
yes.
I mean,
that's one way of getting recognized, huh?
Yeah, I mean, let's face it. Yeah. I'm going to jail, but guess what? Now when I get out, I'll have enough money because of all I get to write a story.
Right, you get to write a book.
Yeah.
Flint Talk Radio be on the map for real.
Yeah, then we become the source. And basically, we're not giving any information out than the stuff we've read in the other rags. We're just talking about what I think about them.
Exactly. Well, that's what everybody does. Everybody. That's what all of the TMZ, all the people have stuff to say about them, so they used to it.
Yeah.
I don't see why they would get offended because everybody has something to say about them.
If you didn't talk about it anymore, they'd be more offended. They'd be, what we got to do something with these
Right.
girls,
They
though.
got to do something to get their name back out there because they've been forgotten. Once you start talking about them, it's like it's over.
Yeah, it's like that's what one time was old Lucy. I Love Lucy thing out. Bill Holden or somebody said to one of his, because Lucy was trying to spy on him, and he goes, you know what they say though. He's talking to his friend at the dinner table. He goes, you know what's even worse though is when they stop noticing you. You know.
Yeah.
So basically, that's exactly the scenario. All these they feed on it.
Yeah, you have to because that keeps your name out there. Because once everybody stopped talking, it's like, well, what happened to so and so?
Other than fornicating, their whole purpose in life is to get noticed.
Yeah.
That's the whole purpose in life.
And look at the money they make from it.
Well, I mean, yes.
Just oodles and
Sex
oodles.
sells, and they sell it well.
Oh my goodness. So anyways, today we had much fun. We're going to sign off and stop ragging on people, and I guess I'll go home and have me a nice little snack now. Maybe take a nap.
Because it's exhausting.
It's exhausting ragging on people. But anyways, hope everybody had fun today. And I'll be back one day soon. So I'm saying that's Flaminpit, and we're out.